Okay, people. So it is July 14th, 2018. What I'm working on today, more than likely, is canning pickled beets. I want to can pickled beets because beets are cheap right now, and build up that food supply, and again give some to my son. He says he's changing his diet, and that some of the things I'm doing he's not going to eat, like the pineapple because there's sugar in it. But from time to time he might use it at some point, and I said good, because I want to put some downstairs, and you're more than welcome to use it, because there's other things I want to pull out. Like when I did the zucchini relish, I gave him a few jars, I packed the rest away and forgot about them, and they've been sitting there, and I've got zucchini growing in my yard, so that means I'm going to have to make more zucchini relish. So I'm going to pull out the old zucchini relish from last year and give a whole bunch to my son and make new ones and put them in there, and then I'll have a double batch, right? As my son eats it when he wants it, because he will eat it. It's just he struggles with his diet because he's trying to eat more effectively. Hold on a minute. Okay, people, so change the subject here. Old Bessie is being sparked up. She's been parked pretty much from, where are we? January 9th of 2016. And she was purring when she went to sleep. So we've got some people that understand Oldsmobile Cutlass LS. So, okay, people, so let me finish this video. Alright? When I first started, then you'll see the car. So I'm starting to work on the car. She's either going to get on the road or I'm doing something else with her. She's been parked since January 9th of 2016, people. Right? She ran for a whole year, and when I parked her, she was still purring like a baby. Had done no tune-ups, nothing. But Uncle John was gone, right? And I was left with the house. Anyway, and all the bills, right? We know that story. So anyway, it's been brought to my attention that, people are starting to talk out here in Canada that some of this stuff that's going on in these hospitals could very well be illegal organ harvesting. In other words, what happened to ShaMay may very well have been illegal organ harvesting that we just don't know anything about, people, because there was absolutely no reason to have her on those machines for the length of time that they had her on. And when people are harvesting organs, doctors, they need a window of 15 hours. In other words, the body can be dead 15 hours, preferably hooked up to machines, right, to keep circulation going, to remove those those organs. Now, here's how they mislead you, though. This is how they make you think that the body is severely damaged in terms of a living body. When she came in, on the phone telling me, severe this, severe liver damage, her liver is damaged, her lungs are damaged, her kidney is damaged, her heart is damaged, her brain is damaged, her brain is swelling, and with the swelling caused all this damage through her organs. And they named the 5 major organs. But when a body dies, all organs, pancreas, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, starts to deteriorate within minutes. Because when you die and you're now dead, the gases in the gut, the bacteria in your gut, go into automatic attack mode and start recycling itself, right? And that's and it applies to each and every organ in the body. So in a living sense, all her organs were so damaged from the actual death of her body that she couldn't be revived, right? But that is not to say that those organs were not salvageable. And here's another misconception that this hospital likes to put out. Maybe the rules are different in Canada, but I highly doubt it, people, because when the political winds blow in from the United States, they implant themselves here and we adopt a lot of their policies. In other words, what I'm saying is, in the United States, over a period of years, when they first started doing organ harvesting, back in the day, right? They wanted bodies that were pristine because they didn't know what the hell they were doing in terms of transplanting organs. They didn't know how an organ that had been exposed to drugs, whether cocaine, heroin, or those types of things, would respond to the new recipient. They didn't know how lungs would respond to a new recipient if those lungs had previously been from a smoker, for example. They didn't know how organs from a person with a hep C, disease in their body, if they died with hep C and then took those organs and transplanted them into somebody else. They didn't know. So back in the day when they first started doing organ harvesting off of bodies, they wanted people that didn't smoke, didn't do drugs, didn't do this, and, had pristine bodies. And then as time went by and the population grew and the need for organs increased, the demand was there, but the supply wasn't. That's when doctors started to slide off of that stringent guideline, and they started, implementing organs that had been exposed to drugs and smoking and, had various bloodborne diseases like hep C and that type of thing. And they discovered that those organs actually worked in other people's bodies. So that myth that the hospital that gave to me was ShaMay, because on the day that they pulled the plug, now, you have to remember, people, I didn't realize what the hell was going on until after it was all said and done, and I was at home asking myself why my daughter's eyes were leaking out of her sockets, why my daughter's tongue was protruding out of her mouth, why my daughter had water blisters on her skin, why my daughter was so bloated that she looked like she was ready to explode, why my daughter's temperature rose immediately after they took off the hot packs, or the cold packs, because they had her on cold pack for 3 days and then they took off the hot packs, the cold packs, and her body temperature just went off the freaking roof. Right? Because she was dead. Her body was decomposing. Why? I asked myself, why was the tube that was in her mouth sucking out all the liquid out of her, wherever it was, I guess her gut, was coming out brown? Right? After being on those machines for all day, like for all those days, right? So, of course, when I got home and I started asking myself these questions, I started Googling, what is a dead body? How does a dead body, manifest itself from the moment it dies? And what are the stages of decomposition? And that's how I discovered that hospital had been lying to us for the whole fucking time and leading us down the garden path. As they were doing whatever they were doing behind the scenes, people. Behind that curtain, right? Behind that, I don't have anything here right now. Here, just hold on a minute. You have to remember, I had that dream where all I seen was her face, because she was covered up like that, people, and she was dead. And when they unplugged that machine, turned it off for her heart, the dream just came into materialization. There she was, exactly the way she looked in my dream after they turned off that machine. Within a minute, her face started to turn gray, right? You could see it, because there was no more oxygen going through her body, even though her body was ready to explode because it had been on those machines for 8 fucking days. As I'm signing the donation thing, because I talked to, they're phoning me up asking me what I want to do before they cut off these machines. And I'm like, well, I talked it over with my kids, and we agreed that we would donate what we could, because in our minds, we didn't know at that time that her body was at an 8-day stage of decomposition, because the hospital was misleading the facts, people. They had an ulterior motive, and I don't know what that motive is, but I am leaning towards maybe illegal organ harvesting, because in the United States, I'm talking fast because I don't want to drag this out very long, right? In the United States, and it goes back to the history of organ harvesting, where back in the day when they first started out, they wanted the pristine bodies to the point where we're in today, 2017, 18, in today mode, right? Doctors are willing to settle for almost anything because there's a high demand for organs, right? And if you're on a list, and you're at the bottom of the list, right? I gotta ask my son for his camera. Hold on a minute, people. I'm gonna ask my son as soon as I see him if I can borrow his camera. Anyway, I just fussed with this thing for like 4 minutes. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, so with the high demand and not enough supply. And if, you know, you do by donation, right? People get organs through a donation system where, you know, if you're at the bottom of the list, you're shit out of luck, right? And there's thousands and thousands of people that need organs. And there's stuff going on in the United States where organs and body parts have been sold, you know, through the black market. And it's happening, people. It's happening in countries like China, you know, places like that, right? All over the world, really. India, maybe not so much. China is a big one, right? It's happening in the United States. It's so insidious. It's hard to, you know, catch the bastards, right? So, you know, just the fact that the hospital staff were lying and misleading the family and the friends that were coming through the door, you know, telling us that she was really, really sick, when in fact they knew she was dead, right? And, you know, making it so the family, you know, we touch, you know, some of the girls were painting her toenails, you know, they're cooing over her and, you know, rubbing her skin, and, you know, they're encouraging you to talk to her, and they want you to bring music, and they want you to bring teddy bears, and, you know, they make you think that she's alive. Why, people, when they knew she was dead? And with the, you know, Canada, you know, it's just, I'm just saying, people, it's been brought to my attention that some people are rumoring that, you know, ShaMay's body was used for organs through the black market because you're not having to pay taxes, you know, you can jump the queue on the waiting list if you have money to pay for those organs. And you have to remember, ShaMay was not a drug addict. ShaMay did not have a history of having opiates or cocaine or methamphetamines or any of that kind of stuff in her system for any length of time. Her body was clean. She was young. She was healthy, right? And she had a good blood type, right? And they took advantage of that, right? So when it came time for me to sign to have the machine shut off, you know, prior to that, the conversation on the phone was that at best, because of the cocaine, listen to this one, people, because of the cocaine in her system. Now we're talking a body that's been dead for 8 days. They're not telling me she's been dead for 8 days. They know she's been dead for 8 days, but they're telling me that because of the cocaine that was in her system when she first came in, they cannot salvage any of her organs, but they might be able to do the eyes. And I'm like, okay, well, Amari's cross-eyed, so I know ShaMay would want to help a little child or somebody with eyesight, so I agreed to at least donate her eyes. Because we weren't allowed to do it because of the cocaine. Because this is what the hospital tells you. This is what staff tell you. Right? When in fact, there was nothing salvageable in her body because it was ready to explode. They didn't tell me that part. Right? They just told me that they couldn't take what they thought that they could take because of the cocaine. Again, they blamed the victim. And then on that night, when it came time to sign for an autopsy, because I had to fight to get an autopsy done after the fact, the machines were shut off, right? Just to find out more information, to argue with the doctor, right? To him to follow up on it. I said, okay, I'm ready to sign that form for, you know, donating her eyes. And that nurse says, no, you can't because there was cocaine in her system, which is a down and out flat freaking lie, people. Flat freaking lie. Go online, Google it. Doctors are taking organs from anybody and everybody, practically. Like, you gotta be pretty damn freaking sick for them not to be harvesting anything from your body. They will take it from your body if you're a smoker. They will take it from your body if you've done drugs. They will take it from your body even if you have Hep C and you die. They will still salvage some organs, something from your body. So the Surrey Memorial Hospital flat out freaking lied to me. Now, why? That's what I want to know. Why? Not only did they lie to me on that occasion, but they lied to me almost from the very they did lie to me from the very beginning, right? And they iced her down immediately with the idea that, oh well, you know, if we put her into a hypothermia state, I don't know if that's blurry or not because it's getting bad my eyesight. You know, if we put her into a hypothermia state, bring her body temperature real down, like down, and, bring her into a very cold state, that will help the brain to repair itself. It should prevent the swelling. When they knew that the body was decomposing. That's the thing, people. They knew. And they only had 15 hours to take out those organs, which they could very well have done. And that's the point of this video. And nobody would know except for those in that black market who jumped the queue. And then they blamed the victim by saying, well, no, we can't take the organs because we're going to just flat out and lie to you and blame it on the cocaine because your daughter was a closet addict that you didn't know anything about because she did it to herself. Even though we've been lying to you from the minute she showed up at the doorstep. Right? Because they're the only people who benefited from what happened to ShaMay. Really. Her family didn't. Her son didn't. Right? Her friends didn't. But, Fraser Health Authority got a whole whack of something, people. They got a whole whack of tax dollars to prop up that ICU ward. And who would want to waste good organs when nobody's looking? They had the facility for it. They were sneaking around with her body, covering it up, wouldn't let anybody see it because it all had those ice packs on it. And again, right? So, there is a possibility that ShaMay's organs were harvested within the first 15 hours after her death once she was removed from this house. And somebody jumped the queue and paid good money for those organs because they didn't want to wait their turn through the donation line. And that could be a kickback, people. That could be one of those kickbacks that these government union workers benefit from in terms of, like, if they're going to go as far as robbing old people of their money and destroying their lives and destroying their family lives just so they can take the fucking money. You don't think that they're not hunting around for organs too? And if one body should happen to come by, right, as an opportunist, because the one that killed ShaMay is still walking free, people. Even though the evidence is there, pointing right at him, right? He's still walking free. Because they need those bodies. Why do they need those bodies so bad? Huh? Why are they lying to the families? Right? Why are they continuously playing fucking games? Right? I'm not afraid to put it out there. I know that my channel is suppressed. I know I don't get a lot of views because ultimately my channel is censored because I talk about real stuff that happens to real people, to real bodies, and to real families, and to real children, and to real old people. Right? And the establishment that profiteers off of this misery that they bring into our community through their unions, they don't like it. So yeah, they censor my channel, they do whatever, we're just sitting ducks. That's all we are. We're just sitting ducks to these people. Pluck one here, pluck one there, be opportunists, let the Grim Reaper partner up with the Grim Reaper doctor. They don't care because at the end of the day, somebody paid $175,000 for ShaMay's liver just because they have too much freaking money and they could afford it. Right? Who's going to pass up $175,000 under the table, tax-free? All you have to do is tell a few lies, right? And use public tax dollars to prop up that corrupt system behind the scenes. So I'm putting it out there. I don't know how I'm going to find out the truth on this one, people. All I know is what happened. I can only tell you what happened. And what happened doesn't add up. People shouldn't have to have their loved one murdered in their basement in the living room when everybody's running around feeling happy and good and confident with life. Right? And then all of a sudden it all comes crashing down and a loved one is completely dead as the people that are supposed to help you and protect you and keep you healthy are using and abusing you, lying to you, right? accusing you of shit, right? As they're doing their backroom fucking deals, God knows where, with who. And you think they're satisfied with just one body? Somebody said to me, was there a killing spree around the time when ShaMay died? I'm gonna leave it on this one because I'm gonna be canning some beets here. Right? Pickled beets. And I'm like, well, I don't really know. You know, it's not like you can get that information easily. I know lots of people get murdered out here and nothing ever really gets done. Right? In terms of the most disenfranchised. Right? If they're disenfranchised, they somehow deserve it for themselves. But anyway, I said, I don't really know. But it turns out I met somebody just recently that told me that the mother of his 2-year-old daughter was found dead, and apparently she hung herself. Because I said, well, how did she die? He said, well, I don't really know. They said she hung herself, suicide. I said, oh, well, what do you think? He said, no. He said she gave no indication of any sorts that she was going to do that. There was no reason for it. None. Absolutely none. So he's left hanging, wondering what the hell happened to his loved one. And that was in March. ShaMay died in April. So they come in clusters. This is what I'm trying to say. This is what this other person was asking me. Are you aware of anybody else dying in the neighborhood suspiciously without it being fucking addressed with by the cops, right? In terms of people getting charged and going to jail for murder, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I find out that a woman, apparently with a 2-year-old child, you know, had no indication to show anybody that she was depressed and wanted to hang herself, all of a sudden hangs herself out of the freaking blue, and it's a close-cut fucking case. But do we know what happened to her body? Because they come in clusters, right? If they're harvesting organs, they're going to want to harvest and harvest and harvest and harvest. Go through it, like a cluster, right? And then calm down, let everything die out so nobody's really paying attention, and then start up again. As the Green Reapers in the fucking, community, right? They're just doing what they want. They don't need a gun. They have fentanyl now. They got fucking ropes. They have to just bum rush somebody and hang them, walk out the fucking door, and it's just going to be deemed as a suicide. Just like ShaMay. She did it to herself. Everybody kills themselves around here in freaking British Columbia, Canada. Have you noticed that? Right? John just disappeared, abandoned his family, abandoned every fucking thing, even though I still have his ID sitting here at the fucking house. Right? As I'm being accused of stealing his ID. Look at that. There's Uncle John. I still have his ID kicking around. I said, well, why is this out? Do you see? It tells you right there he was legally blind. Those people took advantage of him and they stole his fucking money. Right? And now they're going around stealing bodies. If they're going to go as far as steal Uncle John and have that beehive mentality just so that they can fucking drool over money that isn't theirs, hoping that their pension plan will be increased because they're doing the government's bidding, what's going to stop them from harvesting ShaMay's organs? They cooled her down. They knew what they were doing. They kept her on machines for 8 days. Doctor called me in on the 16th, said, oh no, she's brain dead. Brain's leaking down the fucking stem. We need to turn off the freaking machine. In the meantime, my kids are in complete denial because we've been misled from the 11th to the 16th that she was alive, that somehow she was going to recover, and then all of a sudden she's not recovering. And if it was that bad, the doctor should have said, I'm shutting off the machine now, not on the 19th. I'm not giving you any more days. We don't keep dead bodies alive. That's a waste of taxpayers' dollars. But it didn't matter because they got what they wanted out of it, people. Whatever it was they wanted, whether they harvested ShaMay's organs and sold them on the black market, whether they were trying experimental drugs to see if they could make her become alive, even though they knew she was dead. Who knows what the fuck they were doing, but whatever they were doing, they got what they wanted. And that's the point. They got what they wanted. Well, the family, right, are sitting ducks to the Grim Reapers in the community, whether they're the professional Grim Reapers or the ragtag ones running the fucking streets. as the gangsters are watching the gangsters.